Welcome to the last section of our course. In this section, we'll be learning about multi-container applications in the cloud. We'll be looking at AWS, GCP, and Azure and how they are working with Docker. So we'll be using Docker Compose for orchestrating complex architecture. Then we'll create and operate deployment of multi-container application and setup. Video number 3, we'll be troubleshooting running service in the cloud. Then we'll scale instances to react on incoming traffic. Then we'll have 3 videos. First will be about running Docker on AWS, then Azure and GCP. And this is a first video in which we'll be using Docker Compose for orchestrating complex architecture. So we'll create a Docker Compose file, example file in which you'll learn how you can use that tool for creating multi-services applications and infrastructure. We will create database and web services, and we will spin up architecture using Docker Compose. So let's go to the CLI. In section 7, you will have a file that is called dockercompose.yaml. The name of the file is very important because when using Docker Compose tool, this name will be picked automatically by Docker Compose. So Docker will try to look up the definition of your architecture in this particular file. So let's take a look how the Docker Compose looks like. So we have multiple sections in this YAML file, and every section is a definition of separate service. So firstly, we are defining WordPress. So WordPress has own section, and first and the foremost, we need to define image attribute. Image attributes tell the Docker to use this particular image, WordPress, with version 4.2.2 when spinning up service based on this image. Then we are using links mechanism that we will learn about in one of the previous sections. So database will be linked to MySQL that will be running underneath, and we are exposing port 8080 and linking it to the 80 that is internal to this particular image. On the other hand, we are creating database container. So this database container will be an image of MariaDB, and we are passing the environment MySQL root password example, that is a default password for this SQL database. So using this particular environment, we can set up environment variable within this particular image that will be based on the MariaDB image in a Docker Hub. So we can say that we have DB and WordPress will have link from DB and it will be linked as a MySQL. So once you have definition of your Docker Compose, let's take a look how to use it. So use Docker Compose. So firstly, we will do just Docker Compose app. It will try to look up the images and create containers according to the Docker Compose.yaml definition that is in this particular folder. We can see that we have starting, and after some time, all services that were defined within this Docker Compose are starting. You can see in logs that we have database service and WordPress service. _1, it means that both of those have only one instances. So once they are running, we can list all of them using Docker PS. So let's do Docker PS. And we can see that 2 services, first is section 7 DB1, then section 7 WordPress 1, and both of them are in a state app. Ports, we can see that this database is exposing 3306 and WordPress is exposing 80 as the 8080. So we have a mapping of those ports.